Ayubowan. Today, I am very pleased to speak on behalf of UNICEF about an extremely important issue, which is violence against children, particularly corporal punishment in Sri Lanka. As we mark the anniversary of the Convention on the Rights of the Child, it is a good moment to reflect on the commitments that we have made to our children. UNICEF has been working with the government and with key child protection organizations in Sri Lanka to end violence against children. But much more remains to be done. Today, I would like to focus on the particular issue of corporal punishment, which is widespread in Sri Lanka. In fact, 7 out of 10 girls and boys experience and are victims to violence against their bodies by parents and school teachers. It is unacceptable that although its use and its harm is well known, the impact on the children is all well known, it still remains legal in Sri Lanka. For parents and teachers to physically harm children under the disguise of educating them and disciplining them, corporal punishment harms children physically and mentally and affects their education. It teaches boys and girls that violence is acceptable, especially when used against a weaker person. In effect, teaching them that domestic violence is permissible. Recently, there have been some shocking cases of violence against children in the public media. First, there was a school teacher, and then a parent. This has invoked a lot of attention, a lot of outcry from the public and from the authorities, which is the way it should be. But the question remains, why is this legal? Where do we draw the limits? And what does it take to end it? In my home country, where I was born, in Sweden, we are considered a pioneer in terms of addressing corporal punishment and violence against children. In 1979, when I was just a small boy, Sweden became the first country in the world to ban corporal punishment everywhere, in schools, at home, in any institution. The legislative change was a fairly small one because the legislation existed beforehand, but this was just an amendment to ban it in all settings, particularly in schools. And thus, Sweden became this first country to ban all forms of physical punishment and other emotionally abusive treatment against children. This was long before the Convention on the Rights of the Child. But what was monumental was that it elevated children's rights to that of adults' rights, to be hit. The legal ban in Sweden has had a very big impact and a sustainable impact. We know now that over a 35-year period, violence against children has been reduced from 90% of children to 10%. And the public perception as well, the acceptance of it, has been lowered from about half of parents to now just around 10%. It shows that legal prohibition of corporal punishment works. It can have a lasting positive effect on children. It can also help change attitudes. We need both the legal part and the attitude, the social norms change. Earlier this year, the Supreme Court in Sri Lanka made a judgment on a particular one of these cases, and it ruled in favor of rights of the child, saying that it was against the Constitution to inflict violence on a child. This is a step in the right direction. And as we move forward to reimagine a world and a Sri Lanka without COVID, and a Sri Lanka where all children, as of next week, will go back to school, perhaps it is time to reimagine a classroom without violence, a home without fear, and a society where children can have the same rights as adults in terms of violence, not to be hit. Sri Lanka needs to end corporal punishment. It needs to send a clear message in favor of child rights and against violence against children. Thank you.